Yo, 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 what up, though? This is your boy, Chris B. Daniels, and you are now on Show and Talk. All right, so I got a question for you guys. Have you ever accidentally came across a movie that, you thought nothing of at first, but then you sat down and watched it and you enjoyed the shit out of it? Well, guess what? That actually happened to me. Uh, so before today or before last night, because I fell asleep on it, so I had to continue watching it this morning. I came across a movie that I never heard of before. It's a movie called Fall. So when I finished it this morning, yo, my eyes was popped out of my head. Mouth dropped to the floor. I'm just like, yo, that movie was just that good, man. So basically, it starts off as these three people. It's a husband and wife, right? The wife the name is Becky. You know what I'm saying? Like she's pretty much the main protagonist in this film, and her husband, I guess his name is Ben, and their best friend, girl named Hunter. So the girl Hunter, she's more, like a mountain climbing enthusiast or whatever. So she's more like I ain't gonna say she got balls. She's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So she's climbing like it's nothing. But the other two are right behind her. So as they're climbing the mountain or whatever, her husband actually loses his footing. Becky's husband. So he loses his footing. Pretty much halfway up the shit, and then so now he's hanging from the rope. He's still attached to the ropes and everything, but like his rope is like attached to the mountain side or whatever. So it comes loose, and the husband actually falls to his death. So now, it's been a year later. So Hunter, not Hunter, but Becky, she's depressed. She becomes a drunk. She shuts out everybody, her father and everything, and she shuts out her father because of the reason being that her father had actually told her that old boy was not good for her or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So she, she don't want to talk to him. She don't want to have nothing to do with him at the moment because of all of that. So basically, later on, as she's in the house, her friend sends her a message or whatever, telling her that they want to go climb the B67 abandoned radio tower. It's like a 2,000-foot tower. So eventually, Becky agrees. So they travel to the abandoned site or whatever, and you would think it looked like it's out in the desert, you know what I'm saying? But it's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. So they get out, they get everything together or whatever. So Becky is real, like she's real apprehensive of climbing the shit, right? But Hunter is more like, yo, basically she's trying to get her back into, what I'm saying, the way she was before Ben died, because all three of them were fans of climbing mountains and shit. So she's trying to, Becky's pretty much still traumatized over the whole thing a year later. And she's really not trying to climb a 2,000-foot radio tower, but Hunter's trying to, snap her out of it, trying to get, her, trying to, basically get her back into things. So she starts climbing up first, right? And the radio tower is real old, mind you. It's rusted. So as they're climbing the thing, right, you'll see like nails and screws and all that shit coming out. Well, screws coming out, you know what I'm saying, popping out because it's rusted to all hell. And they're still climbing whatever. Hunter, she's climbing the shit like it's nothing. But as far as Becky, she's struggling because she's still traumatized and she's, scared or whatever. And she ain't, what I'm saying, trying to meet the same fate her husband did. So, and I don't really blame her too, man. Because it's like after you see somebody die by falling off a mountainside or whatever, and you over here trying to climb a 2,000-foot radio tower, that's the only thing you're going to think of because you just seen death. You know what I'm saying? So it's like she's trying to climb it, and Hunter's, giving her inspiration, telling her she can do it. So eventually they make it to the top, right? They make it to the top, like to the very top of the 2,000-foot radio tower. So now that they're up there, they're taking pictures and everything, recording themselves. So each one of that's my dog, y'all. She loves looking out that window. I do be taking her outside, you know what I'm saying? Try to take her to the dog park, but she doesn't be wanting to go in for some reason. You know what I'm saying? I know she smells other dogs and everything, but mm, we're gonna go outside in a little bit though. But yeah, back to what I was saying. So they're taking pictures, right? And then this time, Hunter, she jumps down from the floor of the tower and she's hanging off the side with no restraints. So she wants Becky to take a picture of her while she's hanging off the side of it. And Becky, she, is taking pictures, they're recording themselves, doing it or whatever. And I guess this would be good for social media. So it's Becky's turn to do it. And she didn't know, apparently she didn't know that she was going to do that. So Hunter's still encouraging her, you can do it, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? And Becky was like, hell nah, I ain't doing that shit. What's wrong with you? But eventually she convinces her to do it. So she starts hanging off the side. And then Hunter's, basically taking pictures and recording her and everything, blah, blah, blah. So when they get back up, they discovered they don't have any signal at all. You know what I'm saying? Because the two satellites, like at the bottom of the radio tower or like halfway up to the top, is interfering with the signal or whatever. So as they're celebrating because they climbed to the top and everything falls apart. Like the ladders from the side of the radio tower and all that just shatters, falls the fuck down. So now they're stuck. They are stuck 2,000 feet high up, right? No way to get down. So at this point, Hunter is telling Becky, because Becky is like she's basically at this point she's panicking, right? Which again, I don't blame her. She's panicking like a mug. So Becky is not Becky, but Hunter is telling her, look, we're stuck up here, but all the pieces of the ladder falling to the ground, crashing to the ground made a loud enough sound so somebody would have heard it, you know what I'm saying, miles away from somewhere. But that wasn't the case. So now, as they're sitting up there, they make many attempts to try to get down, you know what I'm saying? Like for an example, like there's this emergency box up there. It has a flare gun and it has binoculars. And then they take the binoculars and the flare gun. And eventually, after some time of sitting up there, they see this RV where these two guys are basically camping out at in the area. So they're trying to get their attention by waving, yelling, and screaming and all that. And at first, the guys don't hear them. So one of the girls, Becky, I believe, takes her shoes off and throws it to the ground. The guy didn't hear the first thump, but the second shoe actually hit a piece of the ladder on the way, onto the ground. So the guy turns around and his dog gets his attention. And he picks up the shoe, inspecting the shoe or whatever. And he throws it down and walks away. But then from the binoculars, their vantage point, they could see the other guy coming out of the RV with grill and everything. I guess they about to grill out. So this gives them plenty of opportunity to try to get their attention. So they wait until nightfall to shoot the flare gun because, at night, the flare will stand out more or whatever. So they do that. They shoot the flare gun, and then the guys, they finally notice the two girls at the radio. No, did they notice the two girls? No, they don't notice the two girls yet, but they see the flare. So the next, I guess, when the sun came up, right? The guys finally noticed them at the top of the radio tower, and the girls are like celebrating. They're super happy that somebody sees them, and they about to get help. But the twist to that was, the two guys, instead of helping them out, they get into the RV. They pull off towards the entrance of the campsite or whatever, and they see her vehicle there. So one of the guys gets out, goes towards the vehicle. At first, this is Hunter's vehicle, so she don't know what he's doing or whatever. So she finally sees that he's breaking into her shit, and then he steals her car because I guess these dudes figured that okay, they're gonna die anyway, so it don't even matter. So they took her shit and pulled off, right? And now they sitting there just like shit, man. See, Becky was kind of negative most of the time, like, yo, we ain't never getting out of here. Hunter was still optimistic or whatever. She's like, no, we're getting out of here some way, somehow. So there's a light, an emergency light, like a warning light at the very top of the tower from the floor they were standing. It's like a 30-foot, like a 30-foot pole or whatever. What y'all know what I'm saying? It's 30 feet up. So, um, this is no. I'm sorry. I got to go back to a part. I missed the part, y'all. I missed the part because this part right here explains why Becky went up to the emergency light and Hunter couldn't. So I actually did miss a part. So when the ladder was destroyed, right? You know what I'm saying? Based on corrosion and all that, it took their book bag with them, like the book bag that they had their supplies in. So the backpack, you know what I'm saying, fell on top of the satellite that's like right below the floor they were standing on from the radio tower. And Hunter, you know what I'm saying, offers to go down and get it because the reason why she did that because the night before Becky was looking at pictures in her phone. Like, you know, like I guess it was their wedding night and then the reception and all that. So they dancing, celebrating and everything. And then she looks, Hunter is standing there with like this jealous look on her face, like, you know, basically like that should have been me, blah, blah, blah. Then she looks over at her and she notices she has this tattoo on her foot that says 143. And basically that code right there was from Becky's husband telling her that she loves her. But Hunter has it on her foot. So we come to find out that Hunter was sleeping with her husband for 4 months. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy shit, yo. So the reason why I guess is because, you know, Hunter was dating a lot of bullshit ass dudes or whatever, and he was there to console her. The next thing you know, one thing led to another, and then they slept together. And so Hunter is basically apologizing to her and all that, but Becky is not really, you know, entirely convinced of the shit because it was 4 months, you know what I'm saying? And she said it was a mistake. And once again, the one thing I say about sleeping around or whatever, if you're going to take that route, that's not a mistake. That's a choice. You made a 4-month mistake, really? But anyway, I got sidetracked. But yo, so this is why Hunter offers to go down and get the book bag the next day. So she basically ties the rope around herself, creating a restraint, and she's slowly moving down because there's one piece of the ladder left, and that's at the very top. So after she makes it halfway down to the satellites, she's using a rope to bring herself down. And then she loses her footing, and then she's hanging by the rope. Like, when you see the angle that she's hanging from, it'll give you vertigo. That shit is crazy, yo. You know what I'm saying? Even though you in your house, in the comfort of your own home, watching this movie, that shit will give you vertigo because you think she's about to fall to a death. So she's hanging by the rope. And eventually, she comes up with this plan. So she basically drops herself down to the satellite, right? And she retrieves the book bag. So now she has to find a way back up to the rope. So she does something smart. She takes this selfie stick or whatever, right? And she puts the book bag around it and she throws it. It connects it to the rope. So now she's hanging from the book bag, right? And the book bag is connected to the rope. So now Becky has to use every ounce of strength that she has to pull her and the book bag back up. And she's successful. She winds up doing that. So the reason why they needed the book bag, because the book bag had the drone that they, you know, bought with them or whatever. And so, I don't know. I'm not sure why they bought the drone with them. But hell, it was one hell of a decision. So the plan that they come up with is taking a piece of paper and writing "Help, we're stuck on B67 tower. Call 911." And they connect it to the drone, right? So Becky flies the drone off to because they can see a diner in the distance from the binoculars. So they try to, take the drone or fly the drone to that diner. And the drone runs out of battery power, so they, quickly bring it back to them. And this time, it's Becky's turn to climb, you know what I'm saying, to do a little work. So Becky's leg is still, bandaged because earlier, you know what I'm saying, earlier, like she had got a vicious cut or whatever. So, you know, Hunter basically tied some, tied it, bandaged it up or whatever. So, but after so long, the pain went away. She wasn't feeling anything. So this time, the emergency light that's at the top of a radio tower. And this is one thing I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's just for the movie or what, but like basically Hunter's telling Becky if you could climb to the top of this to the top and get to the warning light, the blinking red light, then you can actually remove that bulb and then you can place the charger from the drone, you know what I'm saying, to charge the drone into that socket or whatever. So what happens is, Becky is sitting there that that night or whatever. Well, it was like 2 nights ago or whatever. So she's like sitting there. She took off a ring and put it into her I guess attached it to her necklace or whatever. So when she finally got to the top, right? To the top of the tower where the light is, she removes the casing and then she removes the bulb. So Hunter's basically telling her you might need something small and metal. I guess to charge the socket or whatever. So she takes that ring, her wedding ring or whatever, or the band, drops it down into the hole of the socket. It then plugs in the drone, which is a pretty fucking smart idea. So as she's sitting there, she has to sit there, like hang there until the drone is charged. There's a lot of fucking like dangerous moments in this movie, yo. So out of nowhere, this vulture shows up. It starts flying, like, you know what I'm saying, around her or whatever. And it's trying, basically, I guess it's trying to get to her leg because it can smell the like the leg or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So the vulture's flying around and it keeps running, bumping into her. So she's hanging on for dear life. So after some time, the drone is charged, fully charged. So she unplugs it, makes her way back down, right? And this time they actually fly the drone off. And they're so close to the diner. So close. And out of nowhere, this damn truck just comes and destroys the fucking drone. So now the drone is just laying there in pieces, but the piece of paper is still hanging out of it. And the truck driver gets out of his truck, looks at the damage of the drone, and then gets back in his truck and leaves. So this time, you seen, like, you know what I'm saying, it seems like everything is hopeless. You know what I'm saying? They both just sitting there rotting away and, starvation kicks in or whatever. So after a while, this is the twist right here, y'all. After a while, her friend is talking to her, right? Hunter. And she turns her head to the side. And you can see, like, her head is just, like, covered, like, one side of her face is covered in blood. And we come to find out that, Hunter explains to Becky that when she went down to retrieve a book bag, she actually fell further than what, it seems. And she told Becky that she fell to her death. So Becky looks down slowly and sees that, Hunter's corpse is just laying there, like, motionless. And then she looks back over and the girl's no longer there. So basically what happened was, since Becky, was starving and she was thirsty, you know what I'm saying, she starts to get delirious. So Come to find out, since the time her friend went to go down there and grab the book bag, like retrieve the book bag, she was dead. She was dead the whole time. So at this point, Becky falls asleep. And this, the next day, this one of the vultures come, because there's two of them. One of the vultures was down there eating on Hunter's corpse, you know what I'm saying? Eating in the torso and all that. And then this other vulture comes, lands on the tower floor, right? Becky's still asleep. So she really doesn't, notices it at first. But then when the vulture starts pecking into her leg, her eyes she wakes up, but she's not moving. And at first you thinking, she's giving up. She's going to let the vulture just, eat her alive or whatever. But no, it was actually, a trick. So she was basically tricking the vulture. So she grabs it, right? Just catches the vulture off guard. It starts like wrestling with it. And then eventually she takes the face of the vulture or whatever and just starts slamming it against the tower floor over and over until she killed it. Right now, at this point, like desperation kicks in. She can hear Hunter's voice in her head saying something about the shoe, because Hunter had one shoe on. So basically she's giving her a clue on what she needs to do. So Becky starts eating into the vulture after she, killed it. She started eating it, right? So after she's done eating, she basically, because she needed energy, because she knew what she had to do. So she took the rope, tied it to herself, right? And then she's making her way down to where Hunter's body is on top of one of the satellites. And then she gets down there, and then she's sending, another, basically a message to her father or whatever, telling him that she's trapped on the tower. But the only problem is that message won't go through because the satellite is still blocking the the signal or whatever. So this is what she had to do, and it was a tough decision, I'm sure. So she takes off Hunter's shoe. She puts her phone into the shoe and stuffs it inside Hunter's torso, right? The corpse. And then she's apologizing over and over again, telling her, I'm sorry, but I got to do this. I got to make sure the message gets through. So she pushes Hunter off the tower, and Hunter falls to the ground. And then the message finally gets through. So at the end, right, the cops show up, ambulance, her father shows up, and the father's looking at the dead body that's wrapped up in the sheets or whatever. He's thinking that's his daughter at first. But then, she's calling out his name, and he turns and looks, and she's still alive. You know what I'm saying? So basically, that's how the movie ends. Let me tell you, man, like I said, when I first started watching it, I didn't really think much of it. I was going to turn it off. If it wasn't for my lady, right, because it caught her attention before it caught mine, I would have never seen this amazing movie. This shit was fucking great. And yo, I recommend this movie to anybody. You know what I'm saying? And now they're talking about doing a sequel for this year. And I'm gonna definitely watch that too. You know what I'm saying? The movie is called Fall. And I give it a 9.5 out of 10. This shit was amazing, yo. A lot of people will probably say it's unrealistic, where, yeah, there were some unrealistic moments in the film, but I don't give a shit. This movie was great, yo. Check it out. I recommend it. All right, y'all, I'm about to jump off of here. You know what I'm saying? It's early in the morning. I'm just getting up. But I'll get at y'all later on. All right? Peace!